But now, to more serious matters and the appalling human crisis to our north.
By the time this news bulletin ends, it's estimated at least 115 people will have died from COVID-19 across India.
The heartbreaking pictures out of India over the last few days make the COVID-19 pandemic look like an old-fashioned plague. Patients gasping for air as oxygen supplies run out, desperate victims turned away from hospitals, mass cremations, and cases and deaths setting new records every day.
Over the weekend, more than 400,000 cases in 24 hours. On Sunday, its deadliest day yet, 3,689 lives lost.
Most Australian outlets are covering this crisis from afar, relying on newswires and interviews with Australians stranded in India, angry that they've been abandoned and their return home criminalised. From Delhi, Emily McBurney dropped this bomb on Today.
You know, Scott Morrison had a lot of time in a lull time to get Aussies home, and that didn't happen by Christmas. And now they're going to be coming home as ashes or in a body bag.
Well, it's sobering, isn't it?
For those on the ground, the reporting challenges are immense, not least from the threat to their own health and safety. As New York Times correspondent Jeffrey Gettleman wrote last week,
I'm sitting in my apartment waiting to catch the disease. That's what it feels like right now in New Delhi, with the world's worst coronavirus crisis advancing around us. It is out there. I am in here, and I feel like it's only a matter of time before I too get sick.
The ABC is the only Australian newsroom with a journalist, James Oaten, based there. And he's been filing for TV and radio around the clock, trying to gauge the true scale of the pandemic, which is even worse than we're being told.
There's many factors contributing to the underreporting. Crematorium workers and ambulance drivers say people are dying from COVID, but they're not being tested, so they're not included. Health experts say too often people are being recorded as dying from other illnesses instead of COVID, defying World Health Organization protocols.
And what makes it even harder to know how many are dying is that India's national government, led by Narendra Modi, has consistently downplayed the crisis and attempted to throttle criticism of its management. As investigative reporter Rana Ayub told Channel 4,
the government is hell-bent on hiding the real numbers. My conversations with health officials have revealed, and of course various reports that have come forth, that the death figures in India are at least 10 times higher than what is being revealed to us right now.
At the start of the pandemic in March last year, the government tried to censor all COVID media stories before publication, but the Supreme Court prevented it. And since then, it's been cracking down on social media, ordering Facebook, Instagram and Twitter to remove dozens of posts amid threats in Uttar Pradesh that people spreading rumours on social media will have their property confiscated.
Among those the Indian government got blocked were tweets by opposition politicians talking about Prime Minister Modi's mismanagement of the pandemic, or just highlighting the scale of the crisis and strain on the healthcare system. Even pictures posted by a photojournalist of the funeral pyres burning was blocked.
And Twitter is not putting up much resistance. It told the New York Times it will take down posts if the government deems them illegal. And back in February, after threats to arrest its employees, it blocked 500 accounts that were critical of Modi. And the government's attempt to stifle criticism has even reached Australia, following this report in The Australian.
Arrogance, hyper-nationalism and bureaucratic incompetence have combined to create a crisis of epic proportions in India, with its crowd-loving PM basking while citizens suffocate.
That article by Philip Sherwell, a respected Asia correspondent for The Times, prompted an angry reaction from India's Deputy High Commissioner in Canberra, who complained in a letter to The Australian's editor, Chris Daw.
It is astonishing to see that your respected publication has chosen to reproduce a completely baseless, malicious and slanderous article without bothering to check the facts.
The High Commissioner also demanded a rejoinder to set the records straight, which Chris Daw tells us will not be forthcoming. It is all quite bizarre, as Bloomberg's Asia correspondent Ian Marlowe observed.
Amazing that India's diplomats are busy responding to newspaper articles in foreign countries like this and blocking social media accounts at the height of the world's worst outbreak.
India's record on press freedom is among the worst in the region. Reporters Without Borders ranks the country 142 out of 180 in its World Press Freedom Index, below Myanmar, Zimbabwe and Afghanistan. And it's dangerous too. 4 journalists were killed in India last year, and the media can face
every kind of attack, including police violence against reporters, ambushes by political activists, and reprisals instigated by criminal groups or corrupt local officials.
And while the Indian media market is vast and vibrant, the government has many of them over a barrel because they depend on government advertising. As Al Jazeera's The Listening Post reported,
just look at these front pages from this past Thursday, celebrating, of all things, improvements to the country's infrastructure at a time when the healthcare sector is in critical condition. Like so much of India's journalism, bought and paid for by the hand that feeds.
And it's not just money the government can use to keep the media in line, as the UK Telegraph reported.
It is an open secret that the majority of newspapers are under pressure to hire editors supportive of the ruling party, while a succession of opposition journalists have faced trumped-up criminal charges.
So, while millions get sick and thousands die, there is another potential casualty of this war against the virus: truth and press freedom in the world's biggest democracy.